There we go. We were having some technical difficulties. Got my buddy here streaming in from Asia, so bear with us. I'm gonna set up my camera where normally I'd have the chat screen. So give me one sec. That'll do. That'll work. Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm going to be talking about non-fungible accessories with my bro Zach Burks. He's the CEO and founder of
Hey,
Mintable. That's Mintable.app. Mintable.app. How goes it, Zach?
goes good, man. Thanks for having me on, Ken. Yeah, I want to apologize about the no video situation in Bangkok right now. Internet's a little bad, so just kind of got to deal with it.
Man, it's alright. I'm just jealous I'm not there and I'm stuck over here in the East Coast. It's not even the better coast of the U.S.
I'm from the West Coast, so I actually agree with that statement.
I just got back from LA, and that's why my voice is a little hoarse. Did like 3 days nonstop talking, so I just I feel like I need another day off, but it's all right, man. I'm happy that this is actually my first live stream podcast from the new crib with the new background and all the swag. Everybody can see it. It's really cool. I got like 1 gig over 1 gig internet here now, so gaming's definitely going to be coming, and so that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about here. Non fungible tokens, gamifying. In-game content more like it's in your wallet, like your cryptos, not your keys, not your skin. It's a little bit different there. But Zach, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Maybe let everybody know a little bit about yourself and who you are, maybe how you got into crypto, so we have an idea of you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So my name is Zach Burks, right? And I've been in crypto since 2014, around maybe 2013. My first Bitcoin buy was around $5. I
Oh
actually have
wow.
that. I have the email from Mt. Gox framed at my house, right? Uh, and so I've been around for a little bit. I was in the military, left the military, started doing a little entrepreneurial work, and I've always been a nerd, so I've always been into software, and that's kind of how I found crypto. And so one thing led to another, and come 2016, I find Ethereum and start developing on Ethereum, and kind of won myself over there, and became an Ethereum developer. And since then, I've just been working on different crypto related projects. I got a paper published with the IEEE on using ERC 721, which are the type of tokens that Mintable uses and the type of tokens for CryptoKitties, these non fungible tokens. It's a paper about using them for traceability within food supply chains. So I've been around. I also like to say I was one of the first people to win money using CryptoKitties because, funny enough, I was I was hosting a hackathon, and there was a hackathon going on in a university, the ETH Waterloo hackathon in Canada at the University of Waterloo, and it was being live streamed. And so I was watching the live stream to just kind of get ideas for what I was doing for my hackathon, which was also an Ethereum hackathon for the Ethereum development subreddit. And so I'm watching it, and this team presents about CryptoKitties, and they're like, "Hey, we have this new game on the blockchain. You should play it. We have prizes if you win. Like if you get the first cat with googly eyes, we'll give you one ETH." And so I saw that, and I ended up just going and playing the game while they were all hacking, and I wasn't there, so I was just playing it. And there was only like 20 other people playing it, and I won like three of the prizes.
Were you
I
going
was the
at
first
this
one.
with like an algorithm, or were you just breeding
No,
random cats?
no, man, there was no. It was the like the alpha or the beta. Like there was nothing like that. There wasn't an ability to sell them. I think it was very limited in what you can do. It was just the rewards were only for like get the first cat with spots and you get one ether. Get the first cat with googly eyes and you get one ether, right? And so I just happened to be the first to get two of the rewards, and so I ended up winning like 2 ETH. So,
That's
and I was the first
awesome.
one to win the first award. So I like to say I was the first person to make money on CryptoKitties.
That is genius. I mean, dude, that's pretty cool that that you found like. I mean, how many people can say that they were part of like the because of CryptoKitties is one of the first crypto games. Period.
Right, and they actually created the non-fungible token standard. The ERC 721 standard is from their company, and they started the whole thing basically. And it's funny because the founder, or the main programmer, Benny, he he reached out to me and he was like, "Oh man, I'm so glad you won both these prizes. Like, where are you at in a hackathon? Come meet up. I want to like meet you and talk." And I was like, I'm in LA right now."
Well, I
And he
gotta ask, as an early, CryptoKitty enthusiast, what are your thoughts on where CryptoKitties has come now as opposed to like everybody's expectations of it when they were selling $250,000 cats in New York City?
Well, I mean, uh, I'll put it to you this way. I used CryptoKitties when the beta came out, like when it was what I just told you. And then when they did the actual full launch, I played it for about a week and then never again, right? I've never played it again. And mainly the reason I stopped playing it was because the bots, right? They had all these bots that
Yeah.
came on and started just, you couldn't compete with the bot. And so after the bots, I kind of left, and I still have a few crypto kitties, but it's just one of the one of the things. It's fun. It's like a novel. It was like
Yeah.
Pokemon Go, right? You remember Pokemon Go? Everyone did that for like a week, right? And then because of some problems, or it was just repetitive, or there wasn't really much of a reason. There wasn't much gameplay, right? If you think about Pokemon Go, same with CryptoKitties. There's really not much gameplay. It's really economic incentives,
Right.
and that's actually one of the problems that I find with the NFT ecosystem now is that we have these items that are based off of economic incentives built around whatever project is making these items, but nothing of inherent value. Like in my paper, we were talking about using food items to track them using the non-fungible token just to represent a real world asset and things like that. If you have a middleman that can mediate that transaction and be audited or trusted, then you can ensure that buying this token, it has inherent value that's backed in the real world, right? That value is backed by something real, and but we don't really have that right now. If you go look at like the markets for NFTs, you're going to see, you know, just kind of games that like crypto shrimps or crypto horse or crypto dog, or name any animal and add crypto to
Yeah,
it. I'm sure there's
there's
an
a
NFT.
few supply chain blockchains out there, but they're not really using NFTs, but they have their own tokens and things like that. I think right now probably one of the most popular supply chains are like cannabis supply chains, like Paragon and Tokes and things like that.
Yeah, there's some supply chain projects too, which are really cool. And that's I've worked on two supply chain projects using solely NFTs as the
Oh,
asset within the
really? I
blockchain.
thought, we would have to wait for like more IoT devices that would come out and solve some of the garbage in, garbage out problems for supply chains before NFTs got involved. How are you using the NFTs in supply chain?
Okay, so interesting enough, we're using IoT devices, and IoT devices. I don't really quite follow what you mean when you say waiting for the IoT devices to be able to get the garbage in and garbage out. They're very advanced at this point, and you can give custom scripts, or just think about it this way. The way I like to explain it is you can give a wallet to an IoT device, like a little robot that weighs things, and that wallet, the robot has code, and it can send a transaction from that wallet. It has a balance on that wallet, or you can even go a step further away from that decentralization factor and just manage it on your own, server, where that IoT device number one is attached to this address and IoT device number two is attached to that address, right? And so you have a series of addresses that can interact based off of the input of the IoT devices. And I mean, it depends on what you're trying to solve, what problem you're trying to solve, on how you build the architecture when you interact with IoT devices in the blockchain. But like, so we're working right now at the University of Southern California and CGU, and also Cal Poly as well. And we're trying to basically, we have an IoT smart container, and the smart container just is a Raspberry Pi that runs temperature feed and geospatial data, and the data is then uploaded to our servers, and then a hash of that would be uploaded to the blockchain as an NFT. And the NFT, it goes through different supply chains. It's
Hmm.
built into the smart contract, and so all of this, I mean, there's problems like, okay, so you're saying that that container has to pay gas fees. And it's like, yeah, yeah, they do in one sense, unless you build a side chain
I
where
was
you have
just gonna
no.
say that. Get out of my head, bro.
Yeah, and so a lot of the scalability arguments that come up around things like this are just kind of ridiculous. Like some people say, like, oh, well, PUBG and Fortnite, they would never use blockchain or NFTs on Ethereum because of scalability. And it's like, man, it's PUBG or Fortnite. They're going to build
No,
their own
I have an
private side
argument for
chain.
that, man. They won't use NFTs, but it's not for that reason.
Okay, why?
Because it's not in their business model. Same reason Blockbuster didn't make an app. Period. Fortnite's
Right.
Epic, they're not. They don't have the developers, the infrastructure, the business model, the advertisers that fit that business model. It would just they'd have to start from the ground up to incorporate this technology into their thing. So this is like the Jeff Bezos right now
I
era.
don't. I wouldn't say they have to start from the ground up, but it's definitely a different business model because it allows for secondary market where
Yep.
they're not profiting, right? So that's definitely something that I agree on, and
Yeah,
that
they
is
don't
the
want to
main
give
factor.
up that marketplace where the designers and developers can sell those skins for whatever they want to sell it for. That
Right,
in-game
but
currency, that's their bread and butter.
they can make their own system that only you can transact those items only on their system, right? They can make a closed system. And so there is still the possibility that they can build a business model around it. And then when we go to the marketing and like trying to reach out to all these new people, it's not who they're used to. It wouldn't be like that at all. It would be mass adoption on a whole nother scale because now it's not a requirement. It would just say you have an Ethereum address, or you'd have some guides on having an Ethereum address, and you see all these content creators putting out like how to get skins that you own and can resell back for money, right? And it would spread like a wildfire. And they really wouldn't have to do much because all they have to do is just say, put in your address, or we create a wallet for your account. It could be all sorts of things. It could be as simple as that. Yeah, they just have a wallet for your account, and then boom, next thing you know, they have a little withdrawal button if you want to withdraw the crypto that you've earned from buying or selling skins or whatnot. But all that has to be done on their closed marketplace, and they still profit from transaction fees. They might find that they might have more profits actually by doing it that way.
What are your thoughts about like in-game content being, backed by currency? I think Engine's doing it, right? Like you could be playing a game, you could pick up a gun and you could melt it for Engine so it takes that gun out of the game and I don't know. It's just what are your thoughts on like being able to destroy in-game content for the currency that it's used to like forge it?
I think that's a cool idea to have it for in-game content. Just tokenized in-game content in and of itself is really cool. And I think that's something that we're going to see 100%. We already have like a PlayStation game coming out with like NFTs attached to it.
Oh,
So like we're definitely going to see that. But using it like in the case of Engine, there's just I'm not particularly like fond of having a token attached to things like because once again, if we go back to a large player, an indie company might not care using Engine's tokens, but PUBG would be like, wait, we got to use Engine coin. We can't use our own PUBG coin, right? Like, and then even using a PUBG coin introduces conflicts of user experience and trying to get that. And then the things like the reason why they don't have it right now is probably because their lawyers freak out if they mention
yep.
it because like whoa, is it a security, is it this, we don't know yet, right? So the reality is like having a token is just overly complicated things and stopped adoption. I think that this ICO boom was cool in terms of making money and getting people to know about crypto, but the next wave of adoption, which we're going to have a bull run for sure, right? But the next wave of adoption is going to come in the form of users interacting with like these assets, like having a whole new asset class where if think about it, I mean, if PUBG, if for in some magical fairyland world, if PUBG just instantly did NFT items, uh, uh, on the Ethereum blockchain, and they had used NFTs, and they released that tomorrow, the amount of users buying and interacting with Ethereum, Bitcoin, a
Well, it's
stable
happening right
coin.
now, right? With Wax.io. They're just like ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. But and it's how many people do you know like I was just looking over Wax today, and I really couldn't find much on their volume. I was kind of hoping. Do you know how many people, what kind of volume that they're doing? Because I've been aware of them, but it doesn't seem to display like their volume anymore.
They had a lot more volume earlier on. Unfortunately, a lot of the games that they have the in-game content that's tokenized for doesn't recognize the skins, so it's almost a little vaporware-ish.
Oh, really? So they're selling like counterfeit skins.
Almost. That's kind of what it feels like a little bit. Kind of. It's like souvenir skins, I guess. I don't know. But like, they're saying they're waiting for them to incorporate the skins in the game. It's just taken forever.
Ah, I see. Yeah, and that's also another thing too is um, that when you're dealing with collectibles or things
I'm
like
sorry. Give me
this.
1 second. A Bitcoin Ben. Shout out to Bitcoin Ben. NFT means non fungible token. Sort of like a crypto kitty, or known as an ERC 721 token on the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah, let me actually, can I explain that to crypto Ben? So
It's
these
Bitcoin Ben. Yeah, let them know what's up.
Bitcoin Ben, yeah, man. So here's what's up. So NFTs, right? NFT is a non-fungible token. It means the token has no fungibility. And what that really means is an easy example is if you have a dollar and I have a dollar and we stand and swap dollars back and forth a million times, there's absolutely no change, right? We both still have $1, right? It doesn't matter if your dollar has a little rip in it or whatever, it's still a dollar. Those are fungible items. You can take that dollar because it's got a value of a dollar, and you can go buy a soda at the store, right, for $2. You just need two of them because they're fungible. But what you cannot do is you cannot go to the store with a gum wrapper and try to buy the soda with a piece of gum wrapper because that's a non-fungible item because there's no fungibility behind it giving it value. So an example of a non-fungible token is a token that is unique and it has some characteristic that makes it token number one. And then there's some characteristic on token number two that is completely different, right? So you have token one is blue, token number two is black, token number three is red, right? And you have these different characteristics. And so it does matter in a wider use case, if you know what CryptoKitties are, if you have a CryptoKitty and I have a non fungible token, but my non fungible token is a copy of my marriage certificate, if we swap those two, one of us is going to lose. And it's not going to be me because you're going to be the one that's married, right? So you don't really, when you have non fungible items, what you have to do is you have to have value that is created by the item itself. Whereas with a fungible item, the item has the value inherently. It's just like $1 is always what is always going to be $1, no matter what you do. According to the government.
That's you brought up an interesting point. As soon as I really found out about non fungible tokens, the first real world use case I thought of was like concert tickets, or like just tickets to venue events in general, like a VIP, NFTs or things like that, or like I don't know. I feel like it made sense. I ran into a company called Block Party that's doing something like that, and I would love to see like blockchain conferences tokenizing the tickets to their events. So it'd be
It's so
like
easy.
impossible to counterfeit or fake your
Yeah,
way in or like share
yeah,
passes.
and it's so easy. We were actually there's an event going on Block Live Asia in Singapore uh, in about 5 days, I think, on the 18th. And we've been talking with them to try to create some tokenized asset for their event. Although since we're launching tomorrow, we've been really strapped for time and we weren't able to get anything worked out because we just didn't have enough manpower to do it. But that's one of the things. If you have Mintable open, like on the create page, you can create like your event company as the name of the contract, and every token has the data that says this is one VIP pass to, my blockchain week event 2018 in New York City, blah blah blah, right? You can make 50 of those and sell those, right? And then you sell them on a decentralized exchange for crypto. And so it makes total sense, right? It's a crypto conference. You buy it with crypto. You just go there and you show that, that's your wallet. And then boom, you're in.
Yeah, exactly, man. And you know what? I feel like I should just open the reins here and just be like, look, I might not even know what question to ask. So why don't you go ahead and just start blowing my mind about NFTs, or like tell me things that that are like blowing your mind about NFTs right now. Like where do you see them going in the future, or like even
Oh,
affecting the
no.
mainstream without them knowing they're using blockchain?
So that's like what Mintable is, man. And so here's what's actually going to happen. Right now, our current marketplace for non-fungible items is pretty much non-existent. It's very small. Maybe it's under $10,000 a day for sure, but OpenSea does under 1,000 a day in volume for their items. And it's because when you go on their marketplace, all it is these collectible items. They're economic incentives from the game or whatever project that made these items. In 6 months from now, the new ecosystem will not be, I mean, there will be collectibles, but it will not be heavily focused on collectibles like it is now, but it will be items with inherent value. And that value is based off of the item itself, not the economic model of the project or the video game, like not some kind of scammy buy it now, sell it later kind of model, but where it's just like, oh, I want this and that's a reasonable price. I'm going to buy it. And here's the secret, it's Mintable having the ability to upload files as a token. So we're allowing
Hmm.
you to tokenize files. So a really simple use case is, let's just say Snoop Dogg has a new album, right? So if he's on Mintable, he just writes in Snoop Dogg's album, right? And then every token can include the whole album, and he can make 1 million of those tokens and post all those tokens for sale. And by buying it, only the person who owns the token is able to view the file.
Okay,
So
hold
if
on,
Snoop Dogg made a
stop, man. I've
million,
been talking about stuff like this for like ever, and we were at Token 2049. How did we not run into each other, man? This is like, all right. So, ready? There, somebody's gonna steal this, so you better do it quick. All right. We
do
had
what quick?
MP3
We're already,
players. We had MP4 players. Now we're gonna have MP5 players. We had .mp4, .mp3s. Now we have .btcs or .etfs. Like you're saying, you're gonna have the private key on the wallet to view the file, and you're not gonna be able to share that file because you risk somebody sweeping the private key.
no, 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 no. Similar, close, but no. So the NFT is going to contain access. It acts as like a badge of access. Like when you go into a hotel and you swipe your card against the door and it opens up, that's what
Okay.
the NFT is, right? So you're going to take this podcast, this stream, right? And you're going to take a video file, you're going to upload it, and then there's going to be a download link on your NFT. But in order to actually download it, you have to go through a authentication system that verifies that you actually truly own that on the blockchain, just like you would in any other video game where it says, oh, is this his wallet? Oh, it is. Okay, give him the sword, right? So that's what we're doing.
So
Oh, is
it's a
this yours? Okay, if
custodial.
it
There's a
is, give you the
custodial
file.
service to that then.
Somewhat. We don't know what you upload. We never see it, and we purposely built it that way where it's encrypted, and so we have no idea what any of it is. If you upload anything illegal, then we have a system where you can be reported, and then we will remove the content without looking at it, right? If it's a serious claim, and like if someone says, oh, this is illegal pictures of children, and then it says that in the title, right? Like then we would remove it without looking at whatever the files are. The files are also scanned for viruses without us even having to know what the contents are. So, all these things, obviously, if it's flagged for virus, we just delete it. So we don't even, once again, we don't concern ourselves with what the content is. And that's stored doubly encrypted, right? So we encrypt it and then Amazon encrypts it. So, and what this means is that in 6 months, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to take a textbook that you got, a PDF textbook from some college class that, normally you can sell a textbook because it's physical, but you can't sell an ebook of a textbook,
Right,
right?
right.
But now you can. Now you upload that, you make 25 copies of it, and you post it for $5. And it's a way to earn crypto without having crypto. If you notice, there was no crypto needed to do that other than like to pay the transaction fee, right? But you can, if you have something like a large following on YouTube, your donations and the people watching your stream can donate by buying that badge. And then Mintable has profiles. So they can just show you their profile that says their username on Twitch. It shows that they just bought your token, your badge of a supporter, and then you can give them super special privileges or whatever you would do for your supporters, right? And so it's also a way for creators to create content. In one regards, you're making a badge, but in the other regards, if you put a special episode on your Bitcoin price predictions for $5 or 199 in Ether, right? If you have a following, of course, people are going to buy that because there's content. It's not $125,000 picture of a cat, because if you upload your stream for $125,000, no one's going to buy it. And if you upload a Snoop Dogg album for $300, no one's going to buy it, because what album is worth $300? Now, if you upload some rare art because you're an artist, then maybe you can charge a higher premium based off of, once again, the market value of the item.
Yeah, I always wondered about like the future for artists and tokenized art. Even like the digital art in video games, or just like virtual art or things like to that effect being able to be tokenized. Like what is it called? Decentraland. You know how NFTs will be used in like worlds like Ready Player One even, and be able to cross interact with each other's games. Like if you have crypto kitties right now, right? So you could take those and use them in Mytherium, and that's another blockchain game. But instead, in Mytherium, instead of breeding, they battle.
Right, right. There's many games like that where they use different game items, and that's one of the big benefits. Is you have a interconnectedness between games, where if you're really good on World of Warcraft, it gives you a little boost on PUBG. Um, so, but in terms of art and like Decentraland, NFTs could be used to be displayed in a virtual reality gallery, and then by purchasing, because in Decentraland you'd be able to purchase with crypto, by like going to the virtual reality gallery, you click on the artwork that you like. It says 5 Ether. You pay 5 Ether, and that's transferred on the blockchain to your wallet. And now it's in your house, right, in Decentraland or whatever. And that's really cool. But it's also really limited in the scope of just game items, because there is a whole another world that we need to get past. And at Token 2049, I asked Vitalik what he thought about NFTs and the future and social impacts that they can have. And his immediate response was about gaming and how it's cool that they're used for gaming. And I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh man, even Vitalik is just automatically going to gaming. There's so many more things that we can do, like badges. He mentioned later badges, about like charitable badges, saying like I donated to the WWF, like the like climate change fund, or I donated to this medical health care place, or anything like that, right? And um, badges are another cool case that kind of have social impact. But what if you're able to have tokenized birth certificates, where the government agency for your state, which they've already done this in Nevada for marriage certificates, they said, guess what? We have a special contract where we're going to issue everyone's marriage certificate on the blockchain. And so now we have the Nevada government marriage certificate registry contract, and then every token on that contract is a marriage certificate, right? Because it's public record anyways. But what if you want to, publish a patent protection? The way the patents work in the U.S., you have to take a patent and like say like I have a general idea for X, Y, and Z, and you have to publish that somewhere publicly to
Right.
get like a year.
People
What?
would say you could mail yourself a letter back in the day, you know?
Right, you can, as long as it's certified mail, and that's like one of the cheap ways to do it, right? But now you don't even need it. You gotta go buy a stamp. What is that? I've never done that once in my life. I'm gonna, I would just, you could put it on the blockchain. Is what I'm saying is, with an NFT, is you can just take that, throw it as an NFT on the blockchain, and then the blockchain has reference forever. And if anyone wanted to say it, you don't have to go find the newspaper clipping or article or anything. You just be like, hey, look, it's right here in my history. I posted this 2 years ago, you know. Um, so there's potential everywhere, from government sector to being able to do land registries where you can like tokenize an apartment, right? So if there's 100 apartments in an apartment building, you can have 100 tokens, right? If you own one token, you own the apartment. And then by scanning your phone, it gives you access to the door to get into the apartment complex, right? Showing that you're one of the 100 token owners. On the same regards as physical security like that. You could do blockchain-backed security, where physical access to get into a building or any high security area is required. You require an NFT that may even have additional verification, right? Uh, from government sector to tracking food items and supply chain projects to video games to artwork or rare illegally or like highly counterfeited goods such as like fake Louis Vuitton bags. Like tokenizing those makes a lot of sense.
I've seen a
Um,
company at Consensus doing that. Lux Official or something. They were building on NEM, and I thought it was a really cool concept for like, like throwback jerseys or things like that, like authentic, Louis Vuitton purses and, tokenizing physical items with, like as a form of security as well as a means to tokenize it so you can transact it. It can change ownership that way. So I can like
right.
basically give you the pink slip to my car in the form of a NFT's private key.
Right. Well, here's the problem with that. So first, there's a few companies at Consensus doing that, Viant and then the Lux one you just said. Um, and uh, the problem though with real world is it requires, and here is the most common question I get from people that know about NFTs, but don't recognize the complete potential. They just barely grasp it and they go, why can't I tokenize my car and sell my car? And I'll tell you why. It's because any real world item that is connected to a token requires a middleman. It requires a third party to be some authority figure that says that this real world item is going to move when the item moves, right?
Hmm.
Or or you need to have some model built into it where, if the token transfers and the GPS coordinates of the picture don't update, it blows up or something crazy, right? You need some really advanced technology, or you need a middleman. So the middleman in any situation, right here, I tokenize my car. I have, let's just say, 5 tokens of my car. This is going to complicate things. So let's just say you bought all 5 tokens. So you basically bought my car, right? You bought all 5 tokens of my car for $25,000. You got a nice little 1993 Honda Civic for 25 grand, right? Good deal, right? So that's not really my car though. But so then you go to the DMV and you say, hey, I want to transfer this pink slip over because I have these Ethereum tokens that I just bought. And what do you think the DMV is going to say to you? They're going to laugh at you and tell you to get the hell out of there, right? Because they don't recognize that. And that's what I mean by a third party middleman. You need to have, especially when it comes to things of government registries, like what Nevada is doing, is Nevada has a part of their government, a county. It's a county, so it's a small part of their government, right? But some official in the county has had some legislation or rules or policy drafted that said that we are using the Ethereum blockchain, and that we are going to accept tokens from this contract, and we are going to update this contract with the new claims. And it requires, once again, that third party middleman, which is the county, requires that the county upholds what they're saying. They have to update that when there's a new marriage certificate, right? So in the case of the DMV in a car, the DMV has to then go and say, okay, we have a new policy where we accept any titles for any cars sold on this smart contract. And the reason I say this smart contract is because that's how you prevent the counterfeit, right? The reason that you can trust Viant or the other consensus project that's doing protection against Louis Vuitton bags is because they have one contract that they know cannot be replicated. Because when you make a contract, it's like a Bitcoin address, right? You can't have two of the same Bitcoin addresses. Same for contracts. So it requires that middleman has accepted that. And it's the same as any marketplace. It requires that when you buy something on Amazon, the middleman is Amazon shipping you the item or punishing the person for not shipping it. In the case of like Mintable, we're using digital items, and the blockchain is the middleman. Later down the road, we would actually like to do tokenization of physical items, where when you go to create, it says, is this a digital item or a real world item? And if it's a real world item, like we mail you a package, like kind of like old school Netflix, what it was early, we mail you a package, you put in your item, it goes to our processing facility where we put a special tracking mechanism, like not GPS tracking, but like QR code tracking to track the authenticity. Like this is the item that came into our facility, and then be able to, when someone buys that, mail that to that person, right? Because then we're the third party middleman that you can say, okay, I just tokenized a rare baseball card or a rare gold coin, and you can trust that it's actually going to be sent to you if you buy it, and that contract is actual ownership of that asset, right? So, and that's one of the goals, but it's a very hard problem to solve.
So, how would you go about even beginning to, you know, create I would say the first mainstream adoption use case for this, right? Like, where would you even start? Like, where should the
So
attention really go for the developers that are actually out there working on these things?
I mean, I think what's going to happen is I think Mintable, and I hate saying this because I'm the founder, right? It's my project, so of course I'm excited and overly optimistic about my own project. But I think that by we're the first people to do a lot of things with 721s, right? We have the first Bash Mintable 721. We are the first people to make a 721 generator. Engine made a 1155 generator, so technically they're not the same. And so although they did make theirs a few months earlier than ours, we were the first actual 721 generator. We're the first to use a new type of Oracle system for our smart contracts that makes the user experience better. And so we're also the first to have files. I think this file is the biggest thing because when we have the ability for a mom on Facebook to upload a file that maybe she has something of value on her computer that she can now exchange. It's like a garage sale in a sense. You can go through your old files, see what you want, tokenize it, and post it for sale. It doesn't cost you anything other than the transaction fee, right? So if you spend 5 minutes, find 20 files, you make one contract called, Ken's Store, and then it has 25 different files you're trying to sell for $5 a pop. You might come back tomorrow and realize you sold two of them and you just made $10 worth of crypto for doing nothing, right? You just made $10 of crypto doing absolutely nothing. It's kind of like a little mini ICO in a sense,
Now,
because
I know
you're,
you touched
but
on this a little bit, but it does make me want to bring up again, like, the whole gamifying it, right, for the bad actors for things like piracy or stolen goods. When you start tokenizing physical assets, how do I know that that's actually my bike, or how do you know it's my bike so you can buy it?
what you said when you start tokenizing physical assets, how do I know that it's your physical asset? What do you mean? Like, because in most cases, if your bike is
Well, like,
tokenized.
I'm thinking of an NFT chargeback, if you will.
Give me a use case. Give me an example. Like, you
Um,
have a bike,
Well, that's
and
what I
like
mean. Like
the
somebody tokenize something physical. Could be a bicycle. But that physical bicycle they tokenized that it was represented. I gave you the physical bike. I sent you the token that it's backed by, but come to find out that bike wasn't actually legally mine to even tokenize, right? Like,
ah, I
so
see.
now somebody
So
wants their physical bike back, and you have a useless token because nobody acknowledges its existence.
right, and that's once again why I said any physical item requires a middleman. You need to have a store that does that exchange for you that you can go back to that store for, and they have a policy to handle that, right? Because it's a real world physical item. Or or you have an event, because I said there were two options, right? You either have a middleman or you have an advanced security solution like advanced technology. So one example is you can use RFID tags with anti-tamper proof stickering to put that on your bike, right? And then if there is some sort of, I guess, public record that you would be able to point the authorities to be, that said, like, it was posted 2 years ago that said there's this anti-tamper sticker, it looks just like this, here's its serial number, and that was my bike, and that was posted 2 years ago, right? And then if someone were to steal your bike or tokenize it or whatever, they would be able to look at that anti-tamper device and be able to identify it at the physical items identified by that anti-tamper device. And that's kind of what we would do at Mintable if we had a physical item delivered to us. But there's still problems with that, because if we move away from physical and go back to digital, what if I take an Avengers movie and I tokenize it and I sell it for $5? Now I'm selling pirated, movies, right? And you can't really do that. So It's just like on YouTube or on Craigslist or on eBay, right? Any of these marketplaces or content creation platforms, it's dependent upon the user to abide by the laws, and then the platform to moderate and remove illegal content, right? So it just comes down to there's going to be illegal content and there's going to be scams in crypto for sure because there are no chargebacks. If
Right.
I send you ether, right, you get it. That's it. Um, but there's other, like, I mean, later down the road we're going to have implementations of buying things like crypto things with a credit card, right? Like we can do that now where you can buy an NFT with a credit card, and most likely you don't own the NFT for 30 days, right? After the 30-day chargeback window clears and you haven't charged it back, then they give you ownership, right? Some sort of system like that is one
Yeah,
way that
some
you
sort
can
of
do
smart
that.
contract escrow.
Exactly, and that's something that we once again are working on for specifically NFTs in the exact 30-day to 60-day window, depending on the credit card processing. So that because our whole point, the reason why we don't have a token and we don't have an ICO, I mean, we
Oh,
never
you didn't
will.
do an
We
ICO? I always get surprised when people say that. But I saw something on your website that had a token of some sort for a discount coupon that's tokenized.
I mean, we're an NFT company, and we first were asking for donations when the alpha came out. And I just said, if you want to donate to help speed up everything, you can. And then I was like, I kind of want to give them something back for donating because, like, we're an NFT company. I'm generating hundreds of items, testing things, right? Like, I can generate an item for a user very easily. So I said, okay, well, if they donate, why don't I give them a discount for life because it's on the blockchain? And so we have a discount card where if you donate, it's a set amount of, because we're only going to do 1,000 of them, it's a set amount of half an ether, and you get 100% off all fees on our platform for life if you're using it on the whatever address has the card. And the card is sellable, it's transferable. So, I mean, if you're a trader and like you go to the beta on Mintable, or you see the beta because it's coming out tomorrow and you're like, wow, this looks really cool. I can't wait for the full launch where it's got files, it's got its own decks, and it's like this whole new ecosystem for NFTs. If you buy that discount card now, one, it helps you if you're a content creator, but two, there might be a content creator that wants to use Mintable down the road and they need to buy one of those because they don't want to pay the fees. Because if they make 100 items or 500 items and they have to pay $2 every time, that's $1,000. But if they just paid $100, I think the current price is like $80. It's just half an ether. If they paid half an ether now, they would never have had to pay those fees. So it was just a way to give back. I was just like,
And it's
we
a
can
perfect
tokenize it.
real world use case for doing something outside of, a blockchain game with an NFT.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, we're never going to do an ICO. We're never going to have a token. We want to reduce friction as much as possible. We don't see your private key. We don't need access to anything. Like when you sign up for an account, all we need is an email, username, password. That's it. Like, I mean, there's like no analytics on our software. It's on our site. Like, it's just absolutely like
Well,
we're an
walk me
ecosystem
through the
project.
process a little bit of actually using your platform to make my own smart contract or making my own NFT.
Do you have it open right now? Do you have the
I
beta open?
do, but I don't know if I'll be able to go through all the steps visually.
That's fine. That's fine. Can you go to the create page and it should load up for you. First thing it's going to ask is you got to connect your wallet, right? So there's a new update where anytime you go to a D app, it asks you to you have to approve the website to look at your wallet. So after you approve Mintable to look at your wallet, just refresh the page or it should automatically refresh for you. Now this is still the beta, so if you encounter a bug, just let me know and I'll try to fix it. I fix them pretty quickly, and there's quite a few of them, so I'm pretty good at it. Um,
Yeah, everything looks like
so
it's good to go. It says name your contract, symbol of your
great.
contract.
So here's where you would put Kin Store, right? And that's the name of your contract. So if you were on Etherscan, it would say this is a smart contract with the title of Kin Store, or the token's title would be Kin Store for the like when you go to CryptoKitties, it says CryptoKitties is the title of the contract, right? That's what that is. And then your symbol is the symbol of every token. So if you have 25 pictures that you sell in your photography store, the symbol, whatever you put there, is going to be displayed after each number. So number 25, if your symbol was pick, it would say the 25th pick. It would say
Okay.
total supply of 25 pick, right? That's your symbol. So the total supply number.
Got
And that's
it.
just basic stuff for wallets.
So I
That's
could
just something you got to
tokenize my
do.
dick pics is basically what you're saying.
You can. We've actually had someone tokenize porn, and that made us realize that we needed
That
to have a
person should be my friend. That is genius.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. So there's also a batch minting, right? And that's where the batch minting comes in. Because the thing is if you have a dick pic that you want to tokenize, you don't want to just have to make one dick pic over and over. You want to make like 40 at a time, 50 at a time, right? So
Good point.
that's what batch minting
I
is.
want to send out
Right?
dick pics in batches.
Yep, yep. And here's the thing is you can airdrop it. You can do airdrops, man. You can send this to any address you want, right? They don't and they're just gonna look in their wallet and they're gonna see what? Ken's dick pic, what?
It's making me think of so many different ways in the future people are going to be financially trolled. Like, it's going to be a whole new world of like spam currency or spam mail. I get it in my Waves
Well,
wallet address all the time.
yeah, man. I realized that as well. I already realized that we can do advertisements as token drops where by sending you
Genius,
the
bro,
NFT,
right?
yeah, by sending you the NFT, it's an advertisement and you look in your wallet, you're like, what is this? And then it shows you, it's like, oh, buy Viagra or whatever,
Well,
right?
it's a
Now, obviously, I
perfect
buy
use.
Viagra.
Like, say you spend Ethereum at my business and you haven't been back to my business in 3 weeks, I can send you an NFT for a free meal.
That's a great idea, man. That really is. I didn't even think about that. That is a good way to get retention of users back. Is if you already have their address. I was thinking more in terms of like an actual airdrop where they just send it to every address known, right? Or just a
Well, like
select
I was
few,
thinking of
maybe.
like how to spam people and how spam mail is gonna work. Like if you bought a car with Bitcoin, they're probably gonna send you like invoices in NFT form from like credit companies that want to get the money you owe or so. Like, it's gonna be weird to see these messages like we with signed messages in these transactions in the forms of different types of NFTs. Imagine you get hit with a subpoena or how you have to usually get like mail hand delivered to you when it's legal documents. If you have a whitelisted address, they're just gonna send you it, and they know you got the subpoena.
Well, yeah, that just one that sucks, but two, they just you have to prove you didn't check your ether scan. No, I swear, officer, I didn't check.
That's not their
Uh,
problem.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that also means that they have to have verifiable KYC for that address. Like they have to have verifiable proof that that is your address for sure, right? So
Oh,
I
cool.
don't know
So
if
I
we'll
could
see it
use
go as
your
far as
API to
subpoenas.
host my file. I don't have to get a URL host.
So, okay, yeah. So the URL, so we have options, right? Different options for what you want. We try to be, the thing is like, see these ideas that you're coming up with is like, we want to be as vague as what is required so that you can make as many things as possible and tokenize as many things as possible, right? So we want to give you as many possibilities. The URL you can use as an image just for one piece of data. And we give you three fields for free like on the blockchain. So if you use the URL, you can also use three fields in the blockchain. Or if you use our API, then you can have up to 20 fields of whatever information you want, and it's stored on our API and not on the blockchain. The problem with storing things on the blockchain is you can't upload a paragraph onto the blockchain, right? Your transaction will fail because it's too much for one transaction. So that's why we have the APIs. So if you want to put maybe 20 different characteristics of your Pokemon, or if you want to have 20 different characteristics of data that is being tracked along with your produce, you can just use the API, and then the API, is just stored there. And what that means, it's on the token on the smart contract. When you look up that token, it's just going to return this link that says metadata.mintable.app slash, you some random strings of numbers and stuff, and then you're going to go to that. Or you're just going to look up your address, right? You're just going to go to the same link with your address instead of the random string of numbers, and it's going to return the metadata that you want for that token, right? So that's a way for right now. If you want an example, is you can go on there and your metadata could be all the information about the token, the name, the title, description, picture, image, your website, Then your extra data would be, this is for my subscribers who are subscribed over 5 years. This is a special NFT. If you have this, I will give you access to a special section of my website, right? And it's only for 5 year subscribers, right? And you make five of them. And once again, you send them out to your very close 5 year subscribers. And that's a way to reward them with this verifiably tangible item on that. It's like digitally verifiable. So
Huh.
that's one use
Well,
case.
I saw you even
You
had
can
like
choose.
educational courses and things like that in the in
Yeah.
browser exchange and things like, even Tone Vase has announced that he's going to be doing like online courses and stuff, and I just thought like, well, that's like a perfect person to reach out to and see if like we can get real world use case at things like this.
Well, I think Tone Bayes thinks Ethereum's a scam.
Well, I
So I don't know
think
if Tone Bayes,
Tone Vase thinks everything's a scam.
yeah. So I don't know if he'd be the best for an Ethereum D app,
Well,
but
he
it
still
that,
has a
that we
fucking Patreon and he uses YouTube, and YouTube's one of the biggest scams ever.
that's true. That's true. He is full of hypocrisy. Um, you know, Actually, that is one of the big things. We have a partner with Zastrin, and they do classes, like courses, like online courses, like on how to code, how to make smart contracts, whatever. And they have tokenized courses where you can pay with Ether or Bitcoin or
Oh
whatever
shit, and
currency
they're
you want.
transferable.
Right. And so
Oh
you can buy
shit,
those. That
that's
means that means
genius.
yeah, you can there's a new type of trading that comes with this ecosystem. And that is the person that sits there on Mintable and looks for the newest items and says, "Oh, this is a new Avengers movie and it's only $2. I'm going to resell it for $5," right? And they're trying to flip items for profit, just
Dude,
like they do on eBay and
could you
Amazon.
imagine using multi-sig to have shared ownership of a movie? So five of us can put up $1 to buy a $5 movie, but only one of us can watch it at a time?
Hmm. Probably. I mean, we'd have to go into that more. A multi-sig ownership of a movie, but only one can watch at a time.
So it would
Yeah,
just say
yeah,
sign a transaction like with the private key, and it would say, hey, I'm watching it. And if somebody else signed a transaction saying I want to watch it, it would stop me from watching it, and it would start the same thing with like Netflix back in the day when you could only have one
right.
person
No, yeah,
watching a
yeah,
movie
yeah,
at a
yeah.
time.
Yeah, absolutely. The only problem is it wouldn't be on the blockchain, right? It'd be centralized. It'd be Netflix is saying, "Oh, hey, Ken's trying to sign in, so you got to turn it off." But it's using the blockchain to verify that, right? It's verifying that you are Ken and it's
Well,
me, right?
we
So
could have sort of a community centralized, right? Like a self governance community of like I'm thinking more like file sharing and torrenting without like totally doxing my media preferences.
um, I don't know, man. I mean, that's
Well,
that's
and, like the
that that's the
future of
thing.
piracy wouldn't be sharing a movie because you'll just sweep the private key. But with multi-sig, we could technically still file share.
Well, there. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like you would sweep the private key when you get the file, the file and the private key are two separate things. The private key is your wallet. So it's like your wallet has a token, and because you have this token, you're able to download or view this Netflix movie, right? It's not related to the private key at all of the asset. So when you buy that movie, you can immediately sell that token again to the next person, and that next person, which is now the owner, also can download that video, right? So it's not tied to your private key. So what do you mean when you say swapping your private key?
Well, I
Swiping.
meant like I guess it would be more like sharing your wallet's access. I guess in that sense, as you say, like it kind of made me think like,
Oh, I see. That is a good way. Yeah, that is a good way to get around the system, right? You can just pass around the wallet, have like a community wallet, and then
right,
everyone will be
like
able to
I would
download
give
the
you my wallet's private key, but I would have a multi-sig on it, so you couldn't really do anything too malicious, like move anything. Like how Steam has
Huh.
different keys. They have like a voting key, a upvote key, a posting key. Like they have like five different keys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no, you're right. You're right. That is something you could do. Although the problem is with most multi-sigs is their contracts. So it would be a contract interacting, and there could be complications with like getting like a user signature from the multi-sig. It would have to it would depend on how it's built out and how the multi-sig's built out. There's not really many multi-sig options. Like we have Ganas, their safe, which is kind of a newer one, and then we have some older versions of multi-sig that have kind of been the standard. And so it depends on how you would choose to do it, but regardless, it would be a very intensive smart contract just to do the multi-sig, and then interacting within the NFT would be a completely different smart contract that has to be built in as well. So it'd be very complex. It'd be a pretty complex
Well,
system.
like you said, it's going to definitely require middlemen of some kind, but I believe all those middlemen that will be required will be DAOs and smart contract oriented and governed by the communities rather than the corporate entities.
I mean, that would be the world, man. That would be the dream of the world, right? That'd be the nicest, most decentralized world I can think of is where content is dictated by some DAO or something like that and decentralized and not run by, Viacom or Time Warner or
Well, what do
something,
you
right?
think about Justin Sun and BitTorrent and tokenizing file sharing in that sense?
They didn't really decentralize
No,
or
they
revolutionize.
centralized it.
They didn't really do anything other than just slap a token on it. It's another economic incentive model. It's just a video game with the economic incentive model where if you seed, you get this token, this BTT token. And that BTT token is one of like what, like I think what, 11 trillion or something like that.
Oh, gee,
There's a
Rick, that sounds like slavery with extra steps.
exactly. That's exactly what almost all tokens are, is just extra steps. I love the Rick and Morty though.
That's so great, man. It's like they knew that they were talking when he talked about the miniverse. They were talking about blockchain. I know it. So, I guess I didn't realize we were already at an hour. Jesus, man. Like I could do this forever with you, bro. Bro, we got to get you back on, man. Let everybody know, like the roadmap for everything and where they could find you, and what they can start doing with the platform today. Like, we didn't even get to touch on like what does all of it cost for me to do all of that and make my NFT dick pic.
So, all right, well, let me give you the quick rundown. We're launching the beta tomorrow. Now, there'll probably be a few bugs here or there, like every launch. But if you check back tomorrow, about maybe 20 hours from now, there should be a brand new site, brand new design, the one that you've been showing off here on your screen, and that will allow you to start making crypto from nothing. You got to be creative though. That's the thing, is you either have to have a social media following, or you need to be a content creator or have something unique to tokenize. Or you can just tokenize bullshit, to be honest. If you want to just tokenize like a tree, take a picture of a tree and put some stats and try to sell it on OpenSea, you can.
Well,
No
not
one's
even
stopping
that.
you.
What if Kodak or some picture company wants to use it as a static photo for a wallet?
Exactly right. So there's no reason not to. So you can make all that stuff starting tomorrow, and you'll be able to find out more at mintable.app. Mintable, like it's a mintable token. So it's just mintable.app. The beta comes out tomorrow. Right now, it's really ugly. That's the alpha that I built in like 2 months by myself. The beta we've been working really hard on. It has profiles. It has a history. So it's literally your home for digital items. It's the easiest way for you to do anything with a 721. So if you have a 721 already, go try to do something with it on Mintable, and I guarantee you, you will not go to any other. Like, I don't know how you're transferring them now because it's really hard to do it. But however you're doing it now is going to be immediately replaced by using Mintable. I guarantee it is so simple. And I made it simple because I've been in the space for so long and I realized that there's this problem. Within 3 clicks, you can transfer an asset without exposing your private key super simply and with a great UI, right? That is what is up tomorrow. And then the full launch comes out here at the end of the summer, and that will be a decentralized exchange with the ability to upload a file and tokenize files, which means any file probably about to the size of 100 megabytes to start with, but hopefully maybe later we'll
That's
get into the
dope.
gigabytes. But anything under 100 megabytes, you'll pay by the size of the megabyte, right? If it's under like 10 megabytes, you'll just pay like a flat like $3 or $4 or $5 or something like that, right? Just to store it, and it's stored forever on our server until it's deleted for either you request it or like Amazon goes under or something like that, right? So you'll be able to tokenize and sell these files, which means you can start just going through your files on your computer, making them in your store, and just throwing them out on OpenSea. And so that means here in 2 or 3 months, I guarantee you that our NFT volume that we see now is probably going to double just from Mintable alone. We've already had businesses, universities, artists, like satellite hobbyists. I've talked to NASA about tokenizing the New Horizons spacecraft, right? So I guarantee you we're going to have some really creative minds tokenizing things to make money, because it's like earning free crypto when you post it for sale. And we're integrated with OpenSea flawlessly. So as soon as you create something, there's a button that says sell on OpenSea, and you can immediately go right there and post it for sale. Right now, if you go to the Rinkeby OpenSea, you'll see I have an item for 5,000 Ether. If you want to buy it, please do. But
Hey, Vitalik, he's talking to you.
yeah. Actually, I think it is a Magic the Gathering Vitalik series, and that's the thing. Like, you can create your own card game. If you're maybe a developer but you don't know blockchain, we did all that for you, right? So you make your
That's
cards,
fucking
and
genius. Yeah, dude, that would be so dope to see what people can do with. I mean, that's the point of this, I guess, right? Like, I mean, it's just making it easier for mass adoption and making it more user friendly and intuitive to interact and actually create blockchain rather than wait for it to be created by those for you. It's more of like teaching a man the blockchain rather than doing it for him.
yeah, instead of mining the block for him, I'm teaching him how to be a block miner.
Yeah, I dig it,
Yeah,
man. That's
exactly.
really cool, dude. So, everybody definitely go check out Mintable, Mintable dot app. And Zach Burks, thank you so much, man, for coming on the podcast. Much appreciated, bro. And guys, if anybody's gonna do it, it's probably gonna be Mintable dot app that tokenizes the moon. So, coming soon, tokenized moon.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on. I hope I'm back here soon, and we got some crazy stuff tokenized here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, dude,
So
definitely
thanks,
come
man.
back on anytime you have any updates or anything, dude. I'd love to, and probably going to be making my own NFT dick pics on here soon. So I'll make a
Oh,
tutorial
please.
video. Probably have to upload it
Don't.
on Spank Chain though. I don't think YouTube will let me host it.
Yeah. Don't do any dick pics, please, because we will remove them. Right now, we're trying to remove porn, right?
I'm just
It's
trying to be
still
funny, but you're right. I don't want to incentivize anybody. Don't do that.
well, it'll still be on the blockchain, so don't worry. Your dick pic is still on the blockchain for everyone in the world to see. It just won't be on Mintable.
So it may be on OpenSea though.
Yeah, and then I think OpenSea may want to remove it as well, right?
So we're gonna have to have a black market for unwanted NFTs then. That's where we're going with this conversation now, huh?
The ugliest dick pics on the blockchain. That's the domain.
I think I'm gonna have to start domain squatting on some crypto dick pic related exchange names. All right, guys, this has
Uh,
gone way too far. Go to
have a good one.
mintable dot app, and let me see what you guys decide to tokenize. Comment your link below of your tokenized stuff, and let me know how the process was for you. Let's keep the conversation going and open the conversation to you, the viewers, in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of the concepts that we touched here on the podcast today. And go check out Mintable.app and let me know what you think of it. Come back. Give me your review here in the comments and let us know what your thoughts are. And again, Zach, have a day, bro.
You too, man. Adios.